Hello, friends. We're here to do the thing. Slightly different thing than usual, but still the thing. So let's go to our slightly different setup and get right into it. I mean, I see no reason to lollygag like one of those lollygaggers. We're also doing this is not only is this a atypical stream because we're doing a mixing stream, it is an atypical stream because we are using some funky tech to try to get this done. I'm exporting my Mac through the capture card into the PC to run the stream. It's gonna look a little something like this. Boom! All right. Oh, look at that! I can see that it's working. I can see it streaming. Sick. Awesome. Hopefully this holds up. There could be calamities. If there are calamities, we will deal with them as we go, such as this microphone stand and how much give it wants to give me. All right, here we go. Yep. There's the microphone. Maybe we should make it a little hotter because I'm working with what I got. Let's see. Here we got this there. Tighten that joint. Perfect. All right, let's get the mic a little hotter. Little bit more heat for the mic, so I don't have to be so close. There we go. How's that looking? Levels. That's fine. All right. So I'm mixing an album. As most of you know, I went and recorded an album in the middle of nowhere at my buddy's secret hideaway in Connecticut. Brian Bruce, for those of you who are hive mind inclined. And yeah, we set out a goal. We set out a goal to make a record in 10 days. I had no songs written going in. There was no pre-production phase. It was all just. I had a couple of like loose ideas rolling around in my head and a couple of lyrics that I'd written down. But other than that, it was very just. We're gonna be there for 10 days. We're gonna see what happens, and so it's a little scary because when you do something like that, you don't know if you're gonna get the results you're looking for. But yeah, long story short, we got the results we were looking for. It's 10 songs, 41 minutes of music, which is to me is a sweet spot to be in. And yeah, it was a great time. So he's been sending me the tracks one at a time, and I've been sort of doing the first coat of the mix as each one comes in, which is what this will be today. This won't be final release mix or anything, but we'll spend some time with it. He's sent me 2 today, so we have 2 we can work from, and we'll just get into it. I'll be doing what I do and sort of talking about my process as I go. I think I have everything nice and contained so that it shouldn't be too loud for y'all, even though I'm going to be working on these tracks, as they came in. So I think everything should be nice and contained. Hopefully and y'all can let me know if the levels sound like ass or if things are too blown out or whatever. Oh, that's delicious. Shout out to Better Booch Premium Small Craft Kombucha. This is the Morning Glory Peach and Black Tea flavor. Ooh, that's good. That's real good. Give those guys a plug. All right, so first things first, I got started a little bit ahead of time just to contain the drums so they wouldn't be just eating everything alive. But first thing we do is we just start sending things to buses, and that's for general ease of use and convenience. So we have the drums sent to a bus. I'll go ahead and send the bass to the bus. Everybody ride the bus. Boom. So there you go. And I'll give you guys the easy pro tip for for any and all things track related. Label your shit. Because your boy went too long into learning how to do all this mixing nonsense without properly labeling his stuff. And I gotta tell you, it makes your life a lot easier if you do. So first things we do is we make the bass bus, and then we do this fancy little trick here where we create a track for the bass bus, and then we duplicate that bus. And on the duplicate, we rename it Bass PC. And the reason we call it Bass PC is not personal computer. The PC in this instance stands for parallel compression. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and get ourselves a nice chunky compressor. I use the tool setting smashed to achieve what I'm looking for. Works pretty well. You'll see me set up a lot of presets as we go. A lot of people talk about presets as though they're like kind of dirty, because you're not really doing the work. I've always been a believer that if you can cycle through the presets and find things that work for the way you like to mix and get you sort of close to where you want to be, then presets can be great. It's kind of living and dying with them is where you run into that sort of energy. But using a preset to start you off and then going back and tweaking, there's really nothing wrong with that. And people get a little elitist with stuff like that. Sort of like when you're hanging out in a guitar shop and people are like, "Oh, the pedals are for guys who can't play guitar." It's like, what? What? Shut up. No, it's innovation in sound, you fucking maniac. Cool. So you see here we have 2 tracks for the drums, which is atypical. But the reason that worked out that way is we set up 4 mics on the drums, 2 overheads, snare mic, kick mic, and that was sort of supposed to be and that was running into a mixer, which the mixer was then running out stereo into the recording interface. That was supposed to be sort of our sketch drum sound, so we could like work and get drums down so that we can understand kind of the feeling of the song, with the notion of that we would go back at the end and recut all the drums, fancier with more mics and that. But then, as it turns out, we just really ended up liking the drum sound, so it creates a little bit more of a problem in that I don't have isolation on the kick and the snare. So, but basically everything has to then be mixed as though we're just mixing an entire drum set. It's an interesting challenge for this record, and I'm here for it. So, it just means I have to figure out how to make it work. So, generally speaking, I pay my drums about 20 if we're talking about the Logic situation here, which I found out they're not all created equal. Working in Brian's program at his house, it went to 100 on the left and right, which I was like, I almost wish that was how it was here. But in Logic, it goes to 63 and 64. I don't know why that is. I don't even know why the numbers are uneven. If someone has that information, they could pass it along. So we got 2 tracks for the drums. We got 2 tracks for the bass, which is the bass running through a Sans amp direct in, and then the bass mic'd a little bit far away from the amp. And the purpose for that was to pick up some room sound and also the fretting of the instrument, which you can really hear. I'm surprised at how much it picked it up, to the point where I pretty much have to reduce a lot of frequency to put that to where I want it to be. But together, they're creating an interesting bass tone that we've been using a lot. It's been working. So then I believe this should be guitars here. I'll try to get everything, I didn't do too much organizing ahead of time. Figured, if we're going to show the process, we should show that this is part of the process. Mixing, getting your shit organized. Okay, yes, so this is okay, I see. So that's sort of the ambient guitar, almost loop, you could call it. I gotta make a decision on that. Do I want that to just be in one ear, or do I want that throughout? We'll see. We got keys here. They don't come in right away. Okay, so it looks like we only have 2 guitar tracks to work with. So let's treat the loop like it's gonna be one guitar. So we take the 57 and we kind of keep that almost all the way out, and then we take the condenser, which is mic'd a little bit further away, and we throw that all the way out to the side. So let's operate under the assumption that we can use this kind of guitar drone as a whole ear. It might not work. Check. Oh, we'd be better off doing something like this. I'm not sure just yet, actually. But we'll figure it out. All right. All right, so let's get these keys away from these guitars so we don't be confused. Keep all the guitars together. Okay. So then what we're going to do for now, we'll worry about placement later. Let's just get all this to a bus. So give me these guitars. Send them out to the bus. That's, of course, going to be called guitars. Very simple shit so far. Boom. Now we get these here keys. Keys I like to send out to about 40 left and right. And again, none of these things that I'm doing are like, it must be this way, it has to be this way, it can only be this way. You can do whatever the fuck you want on any track at any given time, if that feels right. So now placement-wise, we should be good. Obviously, volumes are going to be all over the place. So we're not even going to bother with the vocals just yet. Right now, we're just dealing with the music. Love this bass. Right, this is this track. All right, cool. Let's get the bass going. On the first bass bus, first things first, you gotta get the bass by itself to see how much of the hand attack is getting captured. Less on this than on the other songs. Interesting. Cool. All right. Interesting. So I might not actually need to EQ this out at all. Sounds good. Cool. So then we start getting our bass toys. Do a little overall EQing on the bass. I like to bring out sort of wherever the character frequencies might be, just a little bit. And cut off a little bit of the sub bass. I want to leave room for the kick as well. So this has a cool pokey element right around here. So I'm going to bring just a little bit of that out. Take out like the very highest high end because we don't need it. So you start to hear when it colors when you're moving high frequencies. So I just take a little bit out. And that's to leave room for things that need that area more. That's not bad. That's a nice little bass beginning. Okay. We also get our handy dandy R bass. This fucker I use on everything. Change the gain, up the intensity a little bit, just to make it bounce. And then I literally will just sweep the frequency range. Kind of look for the place that's telling me something. That's pushing nice. And that's it. Just let it lie for a little while. Then you bring in the drums. Kind of get a feel for it with the drums. Already I can tell I want to get a little bit wetter with these drums. So we're going to get reverb in there. Actually, yeah, too. Oh yeah, all the way in outer space. Let's go. So what we're doing now is just kind of getting a first pass of sound, getting things to kind of start sounding like, hey, maybe maybe this is a gimmick. Maybe we could do something with this. Got to remember to look over and make sure I'm still on stream. Okay. You know what? Running new tech. Just want to quickly check it on the phone, make sure we're here. I see the thingy. It says I'm live. And I see myself checking the thing. Perfect. Let's go. All right. We're on the internet. That's all I can ask for. Cool. So then that's that and that's that. Now we move on to the guitars. The bus for the guitars should be pretty clean. All right. So first things first. Drop the compressor on it. I really like the classic guitar setting. First thing I'll do is kind of throw this on everything and then see if I like what it's given. And if I do, then we're cool. If not, then I have to start getting into individual compression for each guitar, which is, a little bit more of a situation. But sometimes with guitars, you got to go in. You can't really just do it on the bus. Sometimes you got to go into each individual and really work to get that tone you're looking for. So then we'll cut out all this low end that we really don't need. So what I'm doing right now, this is the overall guitar mix. So I'm EQing the bus. So this is like where the guitars will sit in the whole track. And you can see that the snare was left on while the guitar was recorded. So you can cut a little bit of that in. Again, you can't plan for everything that's going to happen. So you just got to be ready to mitigate problems. Now we're going specifically into the droning guitar to see where its best colors are and what we can enhance. It seems like some really cool stuff going on in the mid-range. We'll boost a little bit of the high mids and cut off some of those highs. He cleaned it up so it's not taking so much space. Now we still have the further away mic, which we can get into again. We'll just take out again some of that ultra low frequency. Don't really need that. And this one I'm gonna leave a little open for now because I feel like it's gonna. So now we can once again let's test the theory of left and right for one each to see how that feels. Now we have a little bit more sound. was only on one side. With the ambient guitar, and that should make the fuller thing that we're looking for. Okay, so let's get into these keys a little bit. Keys. Go ahead out to a bus. Boom. Bus 4, we're doing keys. Boom. All right. Get the EQ going. Sound. Okay. I'm gonna let that come into the bass territory a little bit because it does sound really nice. Take out some of the mids for the guitar. Can rock, but I do want to keep this area sounding real good. It's a little low. Brian just adding color and atmosphere. Now another one of my favorites, the hot lesbian action. And I like this thing because it gives a warmth, especially when you're using MIDI for your keyboard tones. This thing really adds a certain kind of like vibe to the keys that make it feel livelier. Brings back some humanity. In this case, we're mic and pure, so we're okay, but it's sounding really cool. I like it a lot. Yeah, I don't think we need to push it too hard. It sounds really good. Okay, now let's get the vocals going. Vocals go out to a bus. Call that bus vocals. Bam. And vocal setup for me is pretty easy. I've been doing the same shit forever. So you just go here, go to compressor. Again, I like to start with the vintage medium setting and then kind of tweak by hand. I have a soft understanding usually of where my vocals are going to be. I've done a lot of recording the sound of my own voice. So then we go there, and then my personal bit of business that I use on my vocals is the Eddie Kramer. So I'll just put it in, and then again everything gets adjusted to taste after that. Let's get going.
Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check.
Those checks will be cut. Voice to ping pong around.
I get this deep belief in bad behavior. So won't you stop telling all my friends that we're all skeletons? Won't you stop telling me
making an adjustment here because I want to get that balance that's in the bass and out a little bit more.
Then please stop telling me that I am heaven sent. I ain't no skeleton. I'm born of other man, and this isn't anything worth dying in. I see no margin.
Cool. All right, so as you'll notice, till this point, I've pretty much ignored volume as a concept. There's a reason for that. So the next step, what we're going to do is we're going to go and take all the gimmicks one by one, including their buses. So here we go. We got the drums and the drum bus. I'm going to right-click on that and create a new VCA. Now, my buddy Josh, who produced the last August on Sunday record, turned me on to the coolness of VCAs. So VCAs are dope because what this allows you to do, basically, and I'll say it in as layman's terms as, you know, the way I understand it, because I understand things like I'm a 4-year-old. That's how I do things. This allows you to go in, when you make a VCA, it allows you to go in and lower the volume of the entire thing. So your tracks, your bus, your effects, you lower the volume of everything. Because what ends up happening a lot of times, let's say if we just sent our drums to a bus and then we lowered the bus, you would notice that, yeah, it gets lower, but something about the way the effect is hitting the recording will change. And sometimes you need volume to push the effect to its maximum. You know, there's something about the volume level of the recording hitting the effect hitting it a certain way that gives it the tone that feels good. So basically what the VCA does is it allows you to lower the volume down without affecting those things, because it's still hitting the bus at the same volume. So you're lowering everything, but you're not giving away. Now, why didn't they change the label on that? That's weird to me. Oh, it just got weird visually. I see. But you're not giving away the effect. So that's why we do that. And then it makes mixing a joy, because then you get to do shit like this. You just have like everything set up to its own VCAs, right? So there's the 2 bass tracks. So now we're gonna be careful to make sure we get both bass buses that we made. Remember, because we have the regular one and the parallel compression. We get both of these, and we got all 4 of those tracks. Send those to the VCA. Boom. And that's our bass. So it's really, really rad. And you'll see once we get a little further here what this ends up bringing out that's really cool. Okay, get rid of that. Now let's get our guitars. So these are all guitars right here. Boom. All right. And I like to do it like that because I'm working off one screen, so just double check myself. Boom. There we go. There's our guitars. Create new VCA for the guitars. Boom. Label it properly. Half me talking to myself here, but it's important to label it properly. All right, and we have the keys. Boom. Same thing. Set them all up. Give me the keys. Boom. Boom. Keys. Boom. And last but not least, the vocals. Bam. Go with that. Boom, 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 boom. Hit that with that. And that right there. Boom. VCA. Vocals. And sometimes if I have an acoustic guitar, I might give it its own, keep it away from the rest of the guitars because it's going to need some more special attention. Or if harmonies are hitting a certain way and I want them to have their own attention, sometimes I'll do that as well. You know. But again, that stuff's more of a case-by-case basis. But boom. So now, we get in there and we hear everything playing with our VCAs going. So now,
Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check.
see where it's hitting the overall volume. We're under threshold. It's fine. Alright, so you're like, hey man, maybe we need a little less of these drums. They're gone. And there they are.
I see no
I don't actually feel that way, however. So we're gonna leave the drums chilling.
and you ain't no savior.
Probably bring some guitars down here. We're cooking.
And I get this deep belief in bad behavior. So won't you stop telling all my friends
And we're hitting at 08, so that's a little hot for me in general. So now we're gonna bring everything down, kind of like 1 dB,
won't you stop telling
because I want to leave headroom, of course, for the mastering process when it's all said
that
and
I'm your remedy?
done. Going 25 on the keys because they're not really cut through that hard.
I see no motive
Vocals are pretty hot, so we can come down a little bit.
and you ain't no savior. I see no motive and you ain't no savior.
More in my ears.
So please stop telling all my friends that they're all heaven sent. And please stop telling me that I am heaven sent. I ain't no skeleton. I'm born of other men, and this isn't anything worth dying in. I see no motive, and you ain't no.
Oh, what's up, Jib Jab? What software? This is Logic Pro X. I'm a Mac guy for my recording needs and a PC guy for my gaming. Oh shit! Chill. What are we doing? Don't accidentally click things. All right. Another important thing to be doing: constantly save all the time. Nice. I always wanted to try Logic. I like it. I've always liked it. Before this, I was using a software called Digital Performer. That was okay. Messed around in Pro Tools a little. Didn't really click with Pro Tools. Logic made a lot of sense to me. I find it to be very user friendly. Things are pretty easy to navigate, and there's a lot of creative options in Logic that I really like. Fruity Loops guy? Oh, word, Fruity Loops. Hell yeah. That's many friends going hardcore on the Fruity Loops for a lot of years, man. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I basically will try any software that comes along if I can get my hands on it, just to see what it's about. But Logic is a comfortable place for me.
I see no motive, and you ain't no savior.
Sounded pretty good.
And I get this deep belief in bad behavior. So won't you stop telling all my friends
I think I'm gonna give the keys a little bit more love.
that we're all skeletons? Won't you stop telling me that I'm your remedy? I see no motive,
Yeah, again,
and you ain't no savior. I see no motive,
all the
and
same
you
musical
ain't
notes
no
from Jib Jab.
savior.
You're doing something right. check your work. It makes way more sense.
I ain't no skeleton. I'm born of other men. And this isn't anything worth dying in.
Oh, and apparently we never did an EQ on the vocal
I
either.
see
So
no
it's like I just got here.
and you ain't no
Same thing.
savior.
Get rid of the lowest frequencies because we don't need them.
I see no martyrs here,
I actually like the vocal a lot of this.
and you ain't no savior.
I don't want to do too much to it. I kind of like the way this track
Check,
is kind
check,
of
check, check,
disintegrates at the end too. I might do some sort of soundscape additions
check, check,
at
check.
the end to sort of transition into the next song on the album. And we gotta get rid of those checks. I don't know. It's taking me out. I've been meaning to. Actually, I'll do it. I remember there's a reason why I'm not cutting things right now.
I see no martyrs here, and you ain't no savior.
There we go. Vocals cutting through nice now. All right.
Like at this
Which actually tells me maybe we could take a little off.
in bad behavior.
You know what? It's kind of feeling good out front.
So won't you stop telling all my friends that we're all skeletons?
Push the drums a little too.
Won't you stop telling me that I'm your remedy? I see no martyrs here, and you ain't no savior.
Cool.
I see no martyrs here, and you ain't no savior. So please stop telling all my friends that they're all heaven sent. And please stop telling me that I am heaven sent. I ain't no skeleton. I'm born of other men. And this isn't anything worth dying in. I see no martyrs here.
Sneaker preview indeed. Sneakers on the wire, baby.
You ain't no savior.
That's Logic.
I see no martyrs here, and you ain't no savior.
Yeah, they did that like I want to say like 10 years, maybe less. I don't know. A while back, they did this thing where they sort of took the GarageBand and what's the small video editing software. Wow, name's leaving my head right now. Whatever. They took the smaller, the condensed audio and the condensed visuals, and they kind of made them like the bigger programs. So Final Cut. Oh, iMovie. Final Cut and iMovie are very similar now, and Logic and GarageBand are very similar now. And so, like, if you start on one and move up to the next, it's less daunting to switch over. So it's cool. Like, visually, they're similar, and the way things are laid out, you know, basically you just get more when you go up to the bigger programs, you know. I love Logic. I've been on this, although I will say Logic 10 is not my favorite Logic. Logic 8 was home. Logic 10, they've lost some things along the way, but it's still my preferred place to be. Cool. So see, we got this long tail, I might end up adding some things here to kind of make this swirl more and like lead into the next track more, because this is kind of straight across, but it's cool. This is a cool part. I could also, you know, fade it down if that's what I end up choosing to do. But okay, this is sounding like it's in a good place. So also a big thing for me when I'm mixing is I'm very good at stopping. I never try to like sit down and finish the mix in one sitting. I kind of get it to a place where I like what I'm hearing and then walk away and then don't touch that song for like 2 days. So when I come back and listen to it again, new things will pop out to me, things I like, things I don't like, you know. When because I feel like if you press on these things too hard, that they pop like pimples, man. So like, and then you end up hating the mix. So this will be good. So now you get another chance. Everybody who came in late, you'll get a chance to see how the beginning of this process goes, because I got to do the whole beginning again for the next song. Isn't the hard part to put it down and let it be its own thing? Yeah, I think so for sure, and I think that's true of any creative work. It's paralysis by overanalysis sometimes is something that you really got to watch out for, because it's so easy to get lost in um, you know, in just that is not the bass amp. That's oh no, that is the what the fuck? I don't know what this track is at all. Hold on. See, immediately I'm like, what is this? Is this bass? No, this is drums. Okay, that's something tells me. I think this was a scratch drum. I'm gonna say. Oh boy, this is not labeled so great. Another problem with recording in one place and then going somewhere else is that it gets a little hard. All right, so I see there's a straight take here. 1, 2. That's probably the. This is a little scary. I'm not sure how these drums are labeled. Brian, you're killing me, Brian. I'm assuming it's gonna be. Fuck, this is gonna be a little hard to tell. Oh man, did I get? Let me make sure I got all the files. This is bass amp. Why is it labeled as bass amp and it's drums? Are these the good drums? Oh, I see. No, that was okay. I know what that is. That was the take where we were working it out together. Okay, so that's useless. We can get rid of that. Yay. Okay. Also, I gotta shrink this. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I think in any creative endeavor, there's only so far you're gonna get, and at some point, you're basically begging for diminishing returns by continuing to try to like manipulate it. And at some point, it's just you gotta recognize in your own self that's like, this is done. You know, I don't think I've ever been 100% happy with anything I've ever made in my life. So I don't think the goal is ever to be 100% happy. It's just to sort of get to the point where you're like, I've done the thing. I did what I could. You know. Gonna try to figure out which are the good drums, because there's a lot of drum takes here. Well, Brian, to his credit, he sent me everything. So this is everything, even the takes that that are not gonna make it. That sounds way tighter. Okay, so this is probably the one. Yeah. Okay, so this is probably the straight take I did, and then like this is just one take of drums, and then this is a composite of better sounding drums that I think I went back into, had a better feel for the groove. It was a little too loose the first time around. So, all right, so we'll keep these in the mix, even though I don't think I'm going to use anything. So I like to lay my shit out a certain way. It's just a way that I've been comfortable with over the years. Is I always throw my drums to the top, and then the bass, right, and then the guitars, and then the vocals. So looks like we're laid out pretty clean here. All right, so again, same thing as always. We'll run through it one more time. This will be the condensed version. We take all our drums, Boom. And the first thing we do is we send them to a bus. Basically, what a bus is like a grouping of tracks. So like you send all these tracks to one bus, and then anything I put on this bus will be applied to all the tracks that I sent to it. So instead of having to put effects and EQs on each individual track over and over and over and over again, you send everything to a bus, and then you do your effects and shit on the bus, and it will apply it to all the tracks that you sent over. So very handy. So we send everything to the bus. We label the bus. We do this first. Talking to you, Dan. Talking to you. I should have it. Yes, I do. Got my basic drum set up. All right, boom. Let's paste that in. Cool. All right, now let's make this composite real quick so y'all get to see me do some compositing. Now, again, these things seem daunting when you first are learning how to do it. But then once you kind of have an understanding of the program, you see that it's not that difficult, right? So you see right here around the 27th measure is where we're going to switch from one take to another. And so what we do is we look around to see what we have playing wise. And then we get our scissor tool, boom, right? And we go ahead and we cut where we're going to move up. So we go bam. Oh, hold up. Only select the files you actually want to cut. Boom. Labeling is always key. Your boy lost all of his Streamlabs alerts a couple of days back, and the only thing that saved me was labeling with time lengths on the files. Dude, I'm telling you, man. Like, I have some things that even till this day are not my strong suit, and I wish I was better at. Like, my filing system, when I'm, like, trying to back up files, is terrible, and it's always been terrible, and I've really never improved at it, and I should. It's just one of those things that's, like, one of my blind spots, so I end up with really messy file situations, and I hate it, and I hate that I'm like that, but I have yet to actually improve on it, so it is what it is. But yeah, it's really important, and especially in something like this, it's like you're gonna end up with so many files. It's like you're gonna get lost if you don't piece it together. Okay, so I think it's there. All right. Oof. This one's a little less obvious, but I think we're gonna go from this hit. Right. Hopefully that works. Cymbals on both tracks is a little scary. Okay. All right. Well, let's see. We'll put it in place and hopefully it works. We will believe in the heart of the cards. Okay. So we're going to go get the scissor tool again. Go right out to 106. Never be afraid to undo when you do something dumb. Select both tracks. There you go. Bam. 106. Cut it. Should be clean. All right. So now we get rid of these because we don't need that. And we slide these boys down over the top of these boys. Line them right back up to where they were. Perfect. So now it should be clean. So now if we listen here, you might hear... You saw how you can kind of like feel where it switched over, right? That's not good. I kind of like the way that cut off. Okay, so what we do there to kind of mask the switch from one to another is you use a thing called I might actually keep that little accidental stop that happened. I didn't line that up very well, but we'll see. So what you do there is you take this tool. It's called a Crossfade Tool, or I guess nowadays they just call it a fade tool. And you select where you want where your cuts are, and you take the fade tool, and you go like this, and you just make a little. What that does is that fades the one track into the other, sort of masking the cut. And usually, if you do it right, you can't even tell. But see, we didn't do such a good job. So now we got to get in there and see where we can do this a little cleaner. So maybe the song kind of has an odd rhythmical timing, so that's probably why it's not driving just right. Let's do a little further back. See? There. Now you can't even fucking tell. It's like it never happened. And then let's hear this one at the end. This at the end sounded very interesting. I don't know if it's gonna work. It's kind of cool though. Actually, if I just make that tail a little longer, it should work fine. Yeah, even longer, even longer. So like, can I just extend it? Oh, no, don't do that. I want it all together, please. Really? You make me do it one at a time? You fucking asshole. All right, there you go. Clean. Clean, 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 clean. All right, so there you go. Drums sound good. Drums sound like they were played straight through. Eliminated that feeling of composite. Because you don't, even if you're compositing, you don't want it to feel like you're compositing. Because then, you never want to take the listener out into a situation where they're going to be thinking about like how you recorded it. You don't want that. You just want them to listen to the fucking music. So now we have our drums. We have our drums set to the bus, and that's good. So now we move on. So and I'm very patient. I take it one thing at a time, get everything where it needs to be, and then we do the rest. So what is this? I see 3 bass tracks, which is very atypical. I think this one is probably with this guy up here. That's going to be my guess. One of these is not going to be the same. Yeah, these 2 are the same. So I'm assuming that this one is from the original session with the drums. Yeah, can you hear the drum? Yes. Cool. Okay, so that's easy. So now I know these 2 go together. In fact, I'm just going to make an executive decision. These are not going to get used. So let's take them out so that we don't confuse ourselves. Get out of here. Go away. Goodbye. Go away. Goodbye. We'll keep the straight drum take there for now, just in case I might want to go over it to see if maybe there's a cool fill somewhere I might want to punch back in or something. But that's very small detail work that I won't do on stream because it'll just be me sitting there and micro-analyzing tiny seconds of music. That's no fun. We're here to do the broad strokes. So let's go. So drums are cool. They have their basic setup, their basic sound. I don't know how further I'm going to go, reverb, things like that, and check the compression and all, but now let's check out this bass. This is Brian Sears. Okay, so I was talking about this when I did the other one. The way we chose to... Oh, wait, these are both labeled as sands. That's not real. All right, which one has the hand? Okay, this feels like the mic'd one. Yeah, because you can hear the... Okay, so the way we did it... I gotta relabel this. I'm gonna get confused. All right, you're not sands. You're... condenser. Okay. So the way we did the bass is we have one bass that's going directly through what's called a sans amp. So it's basically like running through the head section of an amplifier where you can like tweak and adjust your tone. And that's running directly into the computer, getting that signal. But then we also have a second line going into a bass amp that we recorded with a microphone from a little bit further away from the amp to capture the feeling of the room, the live room that we were playing in, and also the tactile sensation of playing the instrument. So you put those together and you get kind of a cool bass sound. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into the one that's from the microphone, and we're just going to take some of the high-end frequency out so we have some control over how much of the hand you hear. Although, again, in this instance, it kind of sounds cool, so I'm not going to take out too much. We had a couple songs where we were playing more like attacky with the bass, and you could really hear the hands hitting the strings. It's like a little too intense, so we had to cut more of it. But so far, I've had a great time with bass on this record. The bass all just sounds really groovy, cool, low-endy, and kind of vibey. So same thing. Take the 2 bass tracks. They've already made the sacrifice. Send them to a bus. Boom. Label the bus. Gonna hammer that one home. Continues to be mostly for myself, but I will do that forever because I make stupid decisions. So now we go to the bass. So I'm going to walk through this again. So we make the bass bus. So with bass, though, everything we do one extra step that's a little different. We create track for the bass bus. So now it puts this is the bus is in the arrangement. Now we duplicate that bus. This is a little production trick, and we label it bass PC now. And that PC stands for parallel compression, because what we're going to do on specifically this track is we're going to add a compressor, and we're going to use this setting here called smashed. So what we're doing here is we're putting a super compressed bass separate from the rest of the bass that we can use to color the bass track and bring it way up to the front and make it sound fuller, real thick, real full. So we just leave that there. And as I go, I tweak that setting more once I have closer to the final mix and I'm understanding what the overall bass is going to sound like. Then I start kind of getting in there a little bit more. So back on our bullshit, we're going to play the bass in context with the drums first. Let's start with the rhythm section. Now we EQ it. So you see it's a little boomy in the bass. So cut some of that super low end frequency. I always try to find the character in the playing and boost those frequencies up a little bit. Get some EQ going on the drums as well. Like this kick, smashing kick. I get a little reverb on this drum too. Oh yeah, big smash it up with a reverb. Alright, nah, let's try dirty Jim. Too, just to make sure. What's going on these? These might be the better drums. Hold up. It's hard to tell. You have to listen to it all. Alright, let's see. Because usually I would assume that the composite was the one we went to last, but it's hard to tell. These are also listed as 1 and 2. Gotta make sure about these things. This is where we go into the deeper listening. All right, you know what? Let me hear it. Let me hear it all the way through with these drums. And then I'll start to have a better understanding of what the hell is going on here. Labeling is important. See, these were labeled a little poorly in the recording session. So now I'm not entirely sure what's happening. Oh, see, but these start late, so that, no, it's definitely not these. Oh, no, not at all. Okay, yeah. All right, I was right. But there was some interesting shit in there. See, I will go back and revisit that to see if there's anything I can take from there. Okay, so now we got bass. And drums are kind of at the start of where they need to be. So now we still got some more work to do there, but that's fine. Now let's go to my favorite place, guitars. Okay, so let's listen. Dan, okay, let's see. Let's hear these first. Yeah, let's go, boys. 57, so we throw this about 60 out to the left, and then we throw the condenser all the way to the edge. Okay, and then let's hear these other guitars. More ethereal in these guitars. Like that. Okay. That's not sounding too bad at all. Okay. So we take these, send them out to the bus, label the bus. Boom. All right, so before we do anything else with guitars, compress these motherfuckers. So generally speaking, I like to start with a setting here that's called a classic guitar. Just like the way it sounds, no particular reason. Push it a little bit. So already you see we're getting nice crunchy guitar tone. Back in there. So bring back everything. Because when you EQ, you want to hear the whole musical section so that you can cut the things that need to go. Take a whole bunch of this low end out. It's the bass you want to have the low end. Now it's a low end guitar part, so we can't completely eliminate all of it. Scratchy section, so we're working that outside. I like to cut off just the very highest highs on guitars as well to leave some room for vocals. Again, this song is called Scumbag 79, so the scumbag energy in the guitar tone has to come through, or the song won't have its color. Like, not every song, you don't want to make every song pretty. Some songs need to be a little dirty. That sounds great. That sounds fucking awesome. Okay, now we get to start working on the vocals. Which again, vocals for me is always a pretty easy situation. I've been recording my own voice for 1,000 years. So we just go like this, and we, I'm worried about there's a yell part. I mean, as you can see, this is much louder than the rest of the song. I'm worried about sending it all to the same place and just having these just fucking dominate. But we'll do that for now. We'll send it all to the bus, and hopefully we don't need to separate. Because sometimes I end up needing to separate the harmonies for more control, but we'll figure it out. If we need to, we will. Vocals, boom. So for the vocal bus, let's start with the EQ. Cut out a whole bunch of low end. And then we'll go to the compressor. And again, we'll do 2 mono on this. I have a preset that I like to start from, and that's the vintage medium. And I adjust as I need to. And then we go to the Eddie Kramer, which is my secret weapon on vocals, always has been for a very long time. And then we just hit it and see how it sounds. Let's go. Again, so far we're paying no attention to volume. Volume comes later. very hard P there. All right, so that's gonna be a serious cut. All right, let's check it out. So this vocal is just one vocal track. That's interesting. Yeah, this guy might need his own love. All right, we'll see. Oh, that's gonna be problematic. I might have to recut this.
When I am levitation, buried in the bone.
That sounds like the mic fucking clipped and nobody caught it. Oh, that hurts.
Levitation, buried in the bone.
Yeah. Oh, that's unfortunate.
I'm seldom honest, always on it when I am levitation, buried in the bone.
That hurts. Oh. You know what? So we did a lot of recording in a very short amount of time, and it's the first time that's actually happened. So it's not the end of the world, but I probably gonna have to recut these verses then. But we'll work off of it for now. That sucks. Yeah, as you can see, weirdly there's only one take of this. I felt it right away. I was like, oh no, there's only one take of this. Better be fucking good. All right. Well, can't do anything about it for now. I'm gonna have to recut. That's all right. We'll get the choruses right. And worry about the verse later. Fuck. Hope that didn't happen anywhere else.
Cross-eyed genius inclined to take heart out, believe within a
Hey, you're turning notebook pages. I love shit like that. Get rid of that. Oh, no, I'm not doing any cuts. We're not doing cuts. Cuts are later.
Questions never answered. One of these afternoons, we're gonna make a beeline for you, and we'll still feel out of place. In the inner air, it's outer space. 'Cause you're a star. Tell me it's okay. You're a star.
Obviously, those yells need some reverb. And you know what? I think since we don't have keyboards in this song, I'm going to kind of pan them like they're keyboards. That should be fun. That should have a nice vibe to it. All right, so let's get some fucking reverb on there. All right, we'll start with my favorite setting and work around if need be. Verb. That 80s reverb, because I fucking love the sound of vocals in the 80s.
us now on Tuesdays, one of us afternoons. We're gonna make a beeline for one, and we still feel out of place. In the inner air, it's outer space.
Dropping shit. Perfect. Gotta have to cut that. No cuts. Cuts are later.
And this is a catastrophe. One with kilometers intent to tear the heart out. Once again, not having seen.
Yeah. False start. Perfect.
Cause you're stuck in your own mind. You're stuck in your own mind.
Cool. Very interesting. All right. So, got the beginnings. There's work to be done on this track. A lot of cuts have to be made, and I'm gonna have to redo those vocals, unfortunately. That sucks. But nothing you can do. Nothing to be done about it. Nothing you can do. So now we start the BCA process. Take all the drums. Boom. So now we take all of the drums selected and the drum bus all together, and we make a BCA. Call that BCA drums. So to quickly go over again what a BCA is, it basically now, the same way we sent all the tracks to a fader, we sent all the tracks to a bus, so we had control over what went on the tracks in one section. This does that same thing again, but now you take all the tracks and the bus, and you send that over to a fader that is strictly volume. So nothing you do with it affects tone. So that makes it so that you can raise and lower the volumes without affecting the way effects are hitting the recording. That's a cool trick I learned from my buddy Josh, who did the last August on Sunday record with us, and it really has improved my mixing tremendously. Tremendously. Thank you, Josh. So same thing again. We take all the bass files and the bus and the parallel compression bus, get them both, create a BCA. Boom. Label it bus. Label it bass. Bam. Cool. Same thing again. We go down. Normally, if I was working without trying to stream it, I would have two screens going, so I wouldn't have to be opening and closing stuff so much, but working with what we have. So there's the guitars. Boom. Right? Then we go here. And then we go and we add the guitar bus. Boom. And now we send all that to VCA. Call it guitars. Bam. Dope. And then the same thing with the vocals. Now, I'm going to do the vocals a little bit differently because I'm going to send the yells to their own fader, which as soon as I realized I was going to do that, what I want to do is actually go back and put the gain back to 0. I don't really like fucking with the natural volume of things if there's no reason to, especially when we can just do something like this. Right, so we're going to send these vocals and the bus. We're going to send to a VCA and call that vocals. Right? And then we're going to take just the yell vocals and send them to their own VCA. So we have more direct volume control of these guys. Boom. And we'll call call that yells. Don't really want to call it harmonies because they're just yells. All right, cool. So now let's test that theory. Should work clean, right? Let's go to where the yelly part is.
It's out of space.
Got direct control of the yells, baby. So now vocals on this song are pretty low. So we gotta like kind of work around the voice here. I love that. Can't leave it in, it's too distracting, but it's fucking hilarious. Yeah, so everything is really hot on this song, so we gotta do some big volumes. So let's get the drums down to like 6 and work and like reevaluate it from there. Bass down.
This is a catastrophe.
This is 5.
To tear your heart out. Once again, you're not having sin.
All of a sudden, we got more than we need. See, get it down to where everything's starting to sound human. Yeah, so I'll start on the vocal.
Cause you're a star in your own mind. You're a star in your own mind.
I think I might need to take it off the bus. Hold on, let me go back to the middle ones. Let me see.
It's out of
Its own bus.
space. You're a star.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Okay, so what we're gonna do then is go back here, go back to these, send them to a different bus, bus 5, and then, wait, bus 5 has chroma verb on it. What? Was the vocal on bus 5? What the fuck? Why is there a chroma verb on this? That's fucking weird. Is that from the other song? No, I'm stupid. I'm looking at the I'm an idiot. I'm looking at the track going, why is there reverb on the bus? I'm a fool. No. Okay, and then we're just gonna go and copy the settings from this bus is fine. Copy that because we want the same settings on the vocals. Boom. No. Okay, why did you not copy? Copy. And paste. Come on now. Thank you. Okay. So now we have sent the yells to their own bus. And that is better. We'll call this yells. See, this is what I was talking about when we were doing the last track. Sometimes you need a little bit more tactile control. So you can't always send everything down to one bus and VCA. Sometimes you need to treat parts like even though they're both vocals, they're very separate parts. So they need to kind of have their own space to do their thing. Which is fine. Very hard. Alright, so that's okay. What happens if I just knock the compression off the walls? Let's check that. Let their natural loudness carry them. It's out of space. A little bit. This one's gonna take a while. This is not gonna be a quick mix song. There's a lot of different elements here. We are gonna need to take some good. Unfortunately, they're hot. They're very hot. That's fine.
Questions now answered. One of these afternoons, we're gonna make a beeline for and we'll still be out of place. And here it's out of space.
Yeah, the main vocals are really hot too. How much did I raise them? I only raised them by 2, but seems to have done put a lot of heat. Why so much heat? She's so painful.
Cross-eyed genius inclined to tell questions now. One of these afternoons, we're gonna make a beeline for and we'll still be out of place. And here it's out of space.
plodding and thuddy inside of the music. Really like those guitars to pick guitars up. Yeah, there we go. That's as soon as I started turning the guitars up, it's all starting to make a little more sense. Guitars should be loud. Let's go. Let's move off the drums. Just a little bit. Push the guitars. That's making more sense. A little bit less. This was definitely meant for something else, and I put it here by accident. That makes sense. What the fuck did I think I was hearing when I did it? I'm like, why does this all sound so insane? There we go. Get rid of that. Wow. So something is missing in EQ that I thought I gave it. These things happen. Especially when you're trying to do a fucking stream at the same time. Ridiculous. Oh, it was bass. I see. Interesting. It was the bass. That's cool. That's fine. Fix that later. Interesting. Okay. Well, that makes at least a little bit more sense. I was wondering where certain frequencies were. Alright, I think we'll leave it right here.
This is a catastrophe.
Tier 1. You love to see it. You love to see it. You love to see it. Cool. All right, let's save that up. So let's listen back to the two we just worked on. Get a feel for the vibes of the day.
Check, 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 check.
Two very different tracks, which is also cool. I love that.
Check, 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 check.
Like
to hear a couple things. We'll get that later. Don't want to overtouch. Do not overtouch. Might have to do some clever editing with the drums there. Kind of went for something towards the end that didn't quite work out. Might have to move a section over. Happens sometimes. And this one, Brian, I don't know if you're still here. We had our first moment of casualty of so many tracks in so little time. There's a vocal here that just straight up just clipped, and like neither one of us noticed it, I guess. Like can't edit it out, so I'm gonna have to recut it.
Let's find out.
Like it clipped so hard that the mic just deads for a second, and it's just like I can't believe neither one of us heard it. Such an improvised vocal too. Yeah, exactly. That's all right. It just means I got to sit there and kind of figure out what I wrote. And, best to be approximation. I think I have the same mic, so I think I could probably duplicate the setup. Obviously it's going to sound a little different. It's a different room, but it'll be close enough. Fair enough. So I'm not paying too much attention to the verse vocals because of that. I'm gonna have to recut them, so they're just sitting there right now. That's better. Let's start getting funky with those yells. Let's get these yells some love. it's sounding. Cool. That's way better. That just came up a whole step in my mind right mid-rhythm. Keep bringing those guitars up, man. Those guitars keep coming more and more to the front. Nice. Yeah. Big improvement. See, you go away, listen to something else for a second even, and come back and you get an improvement. All right, now let's go back a little further and listen to one of the other tracks that I've worked on for the album, just to get a sense of tonal cohesion. Not going to edit anything that I hear right now. I'm just going to listen to this. We're just here for listening. Sometimes you have to police yourself with that too. We're just here to listen, just to see how they're all feeling as a team, as a staff, as a record label, as a crew. Are they vibing? Is this the vibe? Tell me, have we achieved the vibe?
Yeah. I got some harmonies.
Around the horn. See, now coming back to this, the low end sounds a little thuddy. Okay, we can round out this low end a little bit. Drums sound great. Kick drum. Nope, I'm not gonna edit. I'm just gonna listen. Another part of the process of mixing is that as you mix each track and find the overall colors of the album, certain things you might have liked in one song, you go back and listen to it, now it doesn't fit with the rest of the batch as well. You have to make adjustments for that too. It's like interesting. You can't mix each song in a vacuum. You have to like mix as you go and then kind of reassess and get the overall color and then make sure they all fit together. Thuddy on the kick drum. Yeah, we need that snare to brighten up a little bit. Cymbals sound a little bit though. Trashy drummer on the lead guitarist. Let's go. You're never gonna believe this. A guy killed 16 Czechoslovakians. He was an interior decorator.
I'm on my way. I'm on my way to you now. I'm on my way. On my way to you now. I'm on my way. I'm on my way to you now. I'm on my way. I'm on my way to you now. I'm on my way. On my way to you now. I'm on my way. I'm on my
So
way to you now.
I hear many things that I could speak for, but I'm not gonna touch it right now. We're listening for context sake. We're working on 2 new files. We're going back to the older songs just for some context. All right, let's hear Smasher. We're gonna listen to the ones I did before, then we can come back and listen to the ones that we did today one more time to see if we want to make any last adjustments before I put it down.
I know who likes nuts. Steve.
I can't leave that in there.
Oh
Kind of
boy.
want to though.
The moon's behind the building tonight, and the sun doesn't seem quite.
Yeah, we're getting better with the low end as we go. This even also still sounds a little boomy in the low end. You can get the impact without so much mud.
In my cage behind me, I'm a smasher. Ever after. A soul born to roll and receive. I'm a smasher, slave and master, to the curse and the guilt of belief.
That literally might be how the album starts. I don't know. Like, can I in good faith take that out? I don't know. Might not be possible. I might have to leave that.
The sun only blinds in your eye, and the moon is a cool shade of white. Goddamn, you won't bring me back to my cage. Let my rage on the page, blessed by melody sings that I praise. I'm a smasher, ever after. A soul born to roll and receive. I'm a smasher, slave and master, to the curse and the gift of belief. I'm a smasher, ever after. I'm a soul born to roll and receive. I'm a smasher, slave and master, to the curse, it's the gift of belief. Tell me, do you
So some consistency is there with the last two that I listened to of things that I feel like I'm doing a better job with that I can clean up in those songs. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Consistency is nice. Let's hear this one.
Conversation got you tongue-tied and hollow. Motivation under siege. Don't look back, 'cause there's only tomorrow. Every furnace, a degree. Wait around till the shift changes over. Molly get him what he needs. Wait around till the shift changes over. It's automatic when you get it up above the ground. Getting by, got you knee deep in sorrow. Cooling off your mercury. Can't get back, you got a bag, steal and borrow. Hang your verdicts
That's good for the editing.
on Marjorie.
Just listen. Don't touch it. Don't touch it, you rat bastard.
Wait around till the shift changes over. Mary get him what he needs. Wait around till the shift changes over. It's symptomatic when you feel it pulling in the lead. Tribulation got your mind rolling over. Heavy sleeping till a 2:45. Gotta get up if only tomorrow could stop you running ahead of me. Wait around till the shift changes over. Princess get him what he needs. Wait around till the shift changes over. Child will give him what he's asking for. Wait around till the shift changes over. Psilocybin got your mind at ease. Wait around till the shift changes over. Get that water in your head, and you've been living in the attic.
All right, that one feels the closest to me, but still some things. Still some things. All right, now let's go hear the ones from today one more time, and then we're going to wrap it up. Another important part of doing this, do not burn your ears out. Do not sit there and mix for 6 hours and have no fucking ears left and make a bunch of decisions based on the fact that you can't hear shit.
Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check.
You don't have to get it all in one day. See, all of a sudden, coming back to this, I'm hearing things about this that I like. We got the low end a little more under control here.
I see no motive, and you ain't no savior. I get this deep belief in bad behavior. So won't you stop telling all my friends that we're all skeletons? Won't you stop telling me that I'm your remedy? I see no motive, and you ain't no savior.
I don't wanna put like a-
no motive,
In there.
and you ain't no savior. So please stop telling all my friends that they're all heaven sent. And please stop telling me that I am heaven sent. I ain't no skeleton. I'm born of other men, and this isn't anything worth dying in. I see no motive, and you ain't no savior. I see no motive, and you ain't no savior.
Yeah, here I might paste over, like move over some of the drums that were a little tighter. I was going for like a deconstructed kind of ending, but couldn't really work out. It just sounds like a mark. I'll experiment with that. Easy enough. Alright, that sounded pretty good. That one I think is closer than Scumbag. Scumbag still needs work, but we'll see. Let's just get a listen.
Let's find out.
See, and I want to go negative with more bass EQ than mine.
The sun is always on repetition, buried in the palm of my hand. Cross-eyed genius inclined to tear
Ah, it was the guitars. That was the mysterious EQ that never went anywhere. Aha! It's been identified. Oh, let's go.
Space.
I brought fucking glued the song together. Let's go, boys. There's a valuable lesson in that too. Double check what you're doing. Sometimes you make mistakes you don't even realize you're making.
This is a catastrophe.
Fixed everything. Look, we're under volume threshold again. Everything is better. Fuck yeah. Cool. Hell yeah. Not a bad day's work. Not a bad day's work, if I do say so myself. And I did say so myself because I'm the only one here. Fucking A. Oh, let's go back to the other computer and raid somebody. Also, not a bad little experiment here. This is so now I know if I want to stream some of the games that are still installed on my Mac, I don't have to stream from the Mac. I can just use capture card, send a signal over to the other computer, and do it that way. So that's cool. That's big cool. This worked pretty well. Awesome. All right. Well, I guess here we'll do like a faux full screen how I usually do it. We'll just go like watch. So instead of going over to another set, I'll just hit this. Boom. Hey, now look, we're in full screen. There it is. Transition back to this computer. That was fun. You know what? I why am I always so surprised that whenever I do a music stream, I end up feeling like I should do them more often? I gotta start folding this into the rotation. But I guess you also have to have things to work. Like it's creating on stream is a little weird. Like the one we did while we were working on the album went really well, but that was because I had Brian to like help facilitate recording. Like kind of sitting here being the stream guy and trying to talk to everybody and trying to like write a song is just too much. But I think for stuff like this, for like mixing, I don't know. It's weird because it all walks this line between like you want to share and you want to open up to this side of what I do, but some of the magic of doing it is sort of alchemical and in the moment, so you don't want to be too focus brained on what you're doing. I don't know. It's all very strange, but I'm finding ways to incorporate music into these streams in ways that I can handle, and I'm having a good time with it. This was fun. It was fun to just straight up do a mix and like talk about the process and all that. Again, something about talking about it really makes me see how many little things I've gathered over the years that have like improved my approach to mixing. And you know, it's like a thing here, a thing there. Oh, this person over here taught me how to do this thing, and this person over there kind of passed on this information, and next thing you know, all those things folded together are the way I approach doing it. So it's kind of interesting. Let's see who's around to raid. I see Thunder Squid Thursday. That's an obvious choice. Let's see if anybody else is doing something. Lodo is on, and he's playing Mafia. Oh shit! I think that's the move. Go see Cuzzo. Mafia. Hell yeah. Lodo, I love his new graphic. That looks sick. All right, let's do it. We're gonna raid Lodo. Tell him where you came from. Tell him what's up. Tell him we love him, because we do. Lodo's the man. Be good people, do good things. Work very hard in your work. Play very hard in your play.
See you tomorrow. Peace.